How to set your RTR up like a pro in 3 easy steps. Step 1, put your bars in line with your fork tubes. This is important because you want your hands to be in line with the pivot point of the bars. If they're too far forward, you get this wheelbarrow effect, and that's no good. Step 2, brake lever positioning. You're gonna want your levers a little bit angled downwards. This is because when you're standing on a dirt bike or a pit bike, your arms are slanted downwards, so we're gonna wanna compensate for that. Having your wrists bent upwards like this, that's gonna create fatigue, as you can see, because my wrist is bent. So we don't want that. We want this down. That way our wrist is in line with the brake, and that way we can mitigate fatigue. Multi-step process for the brakes. Not only that, we want to see how inbound they are and try and get our finger in the crux of this lever here. This is important for ergonomics. It also keeps the ball end away from the end of the bar. That way it doesn't get broke as easily. And lastly, lever free play. This amount of free play here before it engages the brake is important. We need at least 2 or 3 millimeters, maybe 4 millimeters. Not too much, not too little. If we don't have enough, the brakes can start dragging. If we have too much, then maybe we can't actually fully engage our brakes. So this is important to monitor, and it can change throughout the life of the brake pad. So this is an easy adjustment to make that'll improve your braking feel. Step 3, suspension tuning. This bike has fully adjustable suspension, dampening and rebound on the front fork, rebound and spring preload on the rear. So the bike, some of them in the beginning did not come pre-set up, and so this is important to a lot of early adopters. Change your clicker settings on these things. Go to the factory recommended settings, which is 12 clicks of rebound, 10 clicks of dampening, and 8 clicks of rebound in the rear. In order to adjust your clickers to these 12, 10, and 8 settings, the first thing you do is bottom out that clicker. That means tighten it all the way in till it stops. Then you click it out 12 times, 10 times, or 8 times. Your rebound is here. Your dampening is at the bottom on the underside. And for the shock, your rebound adjustment is here on this clicker at the bottom. And lastly, about suspension, you can set the spring preload. So you want the sag to be about 25 to 30% of the stroke. So if you take a look here down at the bottom and you have a buddy kind of help you and you sit on it, you want the stroke to, the stroke to be consumed about 25 to 30%. Some people like it a little bit stiffer, 20%, but you don't want it to sag more than 30% because then you're in the bottom of the stroke and that'll affect the suspension performance. So if your bike is sagging too much when you sit on it, you tighten the spring collar down in here, and that allows the spring to be just a little bit more preloaded, and that keeps the spring, or that keeps the shock up in the stroke, and then you're gonna have better suspension performance. I hope this helps. All these tips are super important to having the best possible experience with your ETM RTR.